I have always read these quotes, and they're usually a gut check for me, where you're sitting there and somebody says, you never want to live your life with regret, right? And those quotes come in. You never want to say woulda, shoulda, could've. In fact, I read one the other day that basically was, you want to have more moments in your life where you had, oh, well, I tried that, rather than, oh, I wish I would have moments. And that's what this podcast episode is really about, regret. And I think what we're happy to say today, we brought some people in who do not want to ever have regret in their lives, and they are what I would call the professional tolling experts that know how to go to an event and have a good time. And so on this episode of Toll Talk, I brought some great people to talk about the most recent Tech Summit in Atlanta, Georgia, where the tolling community came together and had a great time, picked up some great moments. And today we're going to share those with you here on Toll Talk. So today's agenda is really simple. We're going to talk about events. We're going to talk about relationship building and some of the best moments all of our guests here experienced. And they're going to share their insights, and I cannot wait to get started. So let's go ahead and introduce everybody. I'm Alex Fakeri, CEO and founder of Mojo. I am one of your hosts here today, and I brought with me, we'll start with in name order, first name order, Ferzan Ahmed from Ohio Turnpike. Hi, Ferzan. We have George Christopher from Imovis. Good to see you. We have Kalie Jakovics from Mojo. And we have Kristen Johnson from Toll Insights. And we have Lev Pinelis from Toll Insights as well. Mark Cantelli from Via Plus. And we have Martin Tyson from Global Agility. Last and certainly not least, Tyler Milligan from Milligan Partners. Well, I don't know about all of you, but we're 6 days out from when IBTA's Tech Summit took place. And if you're anything like me, my inbox was so dang full. I mean, holy cow. Am I alone in this, or was it in triple or quadruple digits here?
I just set the auto delete whenever I'm gone. That way, when I come back, there's nothing to worry about.
Bold, very bold. No, that's awesome. And the one thing I definitely was also excited about, well, my kids were excited about, even though they're a little bit older, they were all looking for the greatest items to bring back, the tchotchkes, the promo items. So kind of curious, what was just by a, straw poll here, what was the best thing somebody picked up at the event?
Well, I would say,
go ahead, Martin.
So I picked up one of those phone holders for your car from A to B. So that was probably the most useful one. I didn't get to take home the PS4 or the drone that others were giving away, but I can put my phone in my car now.
We were all hoping for that drone or for any of those giveaways, but for me, I got this cool little squishy stress ball that was a car from Capch, I believe it was. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I had that A to B thing. Michelle took that, but I took it from her. Don't tell her. What about you, Krista? Did you grab anything on the way out?
So the Jelly Bellies from Deloitte were the big hit. That and the cotton candy from Tagus. Those were the two big hits among my kids when we brought them home.
You know what's funny? I was talking to somebody. They had never had cotton candy before. That was at that event, and they didn't even know what it tastes like, and they had cotton candy for the first time. Gosh. I thought that was crazy. All right.
I will say the one that didn't make it home was the Via Plus gummy bears. Those were top quality snacking, in my opinion.
I snagged a few of those myself. That's what I was about to say earlier.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, so thanks again for everybody joining us here today. Part of this, today's Fireside Chat is really to kind of talk about what transpired, how do we make the most of it, and let's kind of dig in a little bit. I would love to start Ferzan, just because in alphabetical order. I want to start with you real quick. You go to these things. Did you go to any of the events, like whether volunteering or taking the tour? Or, what was your how'd you spend your first day?
I wasn't able to go to any of the volunteering events this time. I got there Friday night really late. So Saturday was really my first day.
Okay.
And before the session started, I wanted to meet with several people that I've not seen in a very long time. So we set up a few meetings just to catch up and get together. And that was one of the highlights of my first day. I always enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah. What about anybody else? Did anybody else make it to the other events that were going on there, or anything in particular on Saturday?
I did the food drive on Sunday morning, which is a great event. We packed, I think they said 25,000 food kits. Probably had a good couple of dozen people who volunteered for that. I think there's some pictures that are posted. Those are always fun to participate in.
Yeah.
I would recommend it.
Well, I think somebody said you guys had 8 meals per box or something like that, or 15 meals per. It was like a crazy amount of meals in each box, and then you made all those boxes. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about all that. I had one job to do, and in my assembly line, I just stayed focused on that,
And it was the best run part of the line, right?
Yeah.
I do want to say I did that as well. And we were the fastest table and filled the most boxes. So
that is not true.
We had it down to a science.
Not true.
That was for a great cause. And I usually take the field trips, right? But this is the first time that I volunteered for that type of event. So I had a really, really great time with everybody and helping with U.S. Hunger in Atlanta. So
well, that's great. Now, Lev and I, we were at the Kristen. I don't know if I saw we were on the same bus or not, but we went on the tour, Lev. Right? That was a good time. I liked that one.
Yeah, I was gonna mention. So on Sunday morning, I had an opportunity, and we were on the same bus together, as you mentioned, to take a tour of the local express lanes. So that was very interesting, and that facility has some very interesting features, including reversibility and some interesting geometry of how sometimes that express lane is down the median, and sometimes it goes kind of off to the side of both the general purpose lanes in each direction. So that was a lot of fun to check out a different type of express lane there.
Yeah, no, that was pretty impressive. That's quite the operation they had going on there. It's something like an hour and a half or 2 hours or something like that. They completely changed the direction of the highway. Like that was pretty impressive, I have to say. So, I want to go back to what Ferzan was saying. He said your relationships. You were meeting up with some old friends, right? And that's one of the big things I wanted to talk about today was what were of all the relationships you have, you don't have to tell us who you met with per se, but did you get to connect with those you wanted to? Is there anybody you missed, or did you hit most of them? I'd love to hear from Ferzan, Martin, Lev.
Not everybody, because everybody was busy as well, and everybody had a lot of people to meet. But there are a lot of people who work for our agency at the Ohio Turnpike, and I don't know all of them. And what I mean is vendors and suppliers. I don't know all of them. And then
Sure.
And that was one of the highlights. I actually walked around and recognized some of the name brands, recognized some of the faces, and we started talking about the projects. And I learned a lot about the projects, learned a lot about them, and that was good because now there's a face to the camera, or there's a face to the LiDAR, or a face to the technology that we have been using.
There you go. There you go.
So these big ones are really difficult to get to everybody you want to talk to because there are so many people there. But we always do a little prep work beforehand, and we make a list of all the people that we're wanting to talk to. And between the 6 people that we sent this time, we were trying to get to most everybody. But I got to everybody my top 5 that I needed to get to. So
excellent.
But it's always a challenge to get time with everybody. Like Ferzan said, everybody's so busy. There's You know, everybody's trying to meet with everybody and cram it all in, and you get there. I got there late this time. I got there Saturday evening, but you know, you get there even on, you know, Friday morning, and all of a sudden there's only one day left in the conference, and half the people are leaving early, and you didn't get to a lot of people you want to see. So this was a much better, much more success in getting to talk to people that I need to talk to. So
yeah, good.
And what truly kind of, so with IBTTA, they have, you know, obviously the Tech Summit, the Global Summit, the Annual, the Rock. There's so many events that they have. For you guys, what motivated you to attend this, you know, particular event for the Tech Summit? Was it specific topics or issues that you hope to learn, connections? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, for me, the Tech Summit, you know, it's the second largest. You know, the annual is usually the biggest. Tech is the second largest. Honestly, I think Tech is probably the second largest because everyone in tolling is at heart is kind of a nerd, and so we all want to know what the latest and greatest is. And so I like to walk around and just look at what other people are doing, and so that's what always motivated me. And but I think Martin makes a good point for those folks who are planning to go to an IBTTA. Do your prep work, but try to get all your meetings done by end of day Monday. I got a little lucky in that I had to help break down our booth. A few of us stayed behind, and so there are a few people who had flight delays that I hadn't been able to get to. And so I was able to catch them in the hallways and just kind of sitting around the exhibition room, the exhibit hall, before they left. But definitely try to get your meetings done by end of day Monday, because Tuesday is it's always rolling the dice.
It's busy.
Yeah. You see, I was gonna say like afternoon Monday, because then it's just like a roller coaster. Like you're just at the peak of the day in my mind at that point. But you know, you bring up something great, George, I want to touch on, and Tyler, I'd like you to hear your thoughts on this. But where were your meetings taking place? Like, and I'll just kind of start the ball rolling. Like for us, all the meaningful meetings I had weren't in the sessions. They were. You know, and that's a great venue, by the way, that Marriott Marquis, that's a great venue. But sitting over on the side, I mean, I met with a few of you guys, and, you know, it was great just to walk over here, standing in the hallway, you name it. Those were great for me. What about you, Tyler?
I would say the three places I spent the most time, and in no particular order, was the vendor space, the area between around the elevators, and then the bar on the second floor. I even, looking back, Alex, I feel bad because the first time I got to see you and Kalie, I think Martin and I were walking. We might have been heading to the bar, and we saw you, got to say hello, and then I had other people catching me and pulling me in different directions. The next thing I know, you guys had sat down because I taken too long, and so it was really frustrating that I wasn't able to connect and spend that focused time. I came in late, like Martin said too. I came in Sunday, and it was nonstop. It was between the round tables and catching people in the hallway and checking on I didn't even get to speak to my employees, which killed me. I apologized to them afterwards because I was too busy in 5 other different directions. So it was cram-packed with networking.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I remember seeing you there, and it was just, you know, it's always one of those things. You're standing there like, do I go interrupt, or, you know, don't I? And you know, you just hope that you'll have that moment again. But I'm just glad to hear you didn't exclude me and just take Kalie, and you guys went and, you know, then, and I get stories from Martin. Did you know what Tyler did to you? No, I'd been upset. No, that would have been disappointing. But no, that's good. That's good. So, Kristen, what about you? So I saw you and Lev out there. You guys were busy, man. So tell us, where are you making your best connections?
I mean, I'll speak for myself, and I'll let Lev, speak for him. You know, I think it's at these events, it is a lot of kind of catching people in the hallway or listening to somebody speak on a panel, trying to catch them afterward. Definitely the exhibit hall, walking around. I know that we had some meetings scheduled One of my objectives at this event was really to meet face to face with some of the folks that we've been working with on the Toll Insight online events that I've been working with Lev on over the last handful of months. So it was great to get to really make that personal connection. It's one thing to meet over Zoom, but I really enjoy getting that opportunity to connect in person.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Mark, I have to say, you guys were exhibiting, and I think you guys also, you had you had a talk or something. I even saw Cody Reynolds up there, speaking as well. How did you guys fare with your different sessions?
I think they went pretty good. I think Cody, it's one of his first times doing it. He's a brilliant young guy, and he's kind of coming up in the industry. He's been around for a while, but
right,
getting more and more, let's say, senior in the industry. So he did good. He got a lot of positive feedback. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
Okay.
And then Joanne ran the tech talks for cybersecurity. We had some good speakers on cybersecurity as well. And it, I think both sessions worked really, really well. Cybersecurity is always an interesting session. It just depends on the topic of the day, and we had plenty of them to pick from when it comes to cybersecurity. So that one wasn't too bad.
Excellent. Ferzan, what was your big session you attended that you enjoyed the most?
I enjoyed all the sessions that I attended. I picked the sessions based on who was speaking because these were people I know. And a couple of them were actually people I had never met before. But during these networking that Tyler was describing, the bar networking, just happened to meet someone who said, hey, come to my session tomorrow. I said, you know what, I will. Just to give you encouragement, I will. So I enjoyed all of those sessions that way. What I liked most was technology that pertains to enhancing safety on the turnpike.
Yes.
For us, it's about moving people. I love shiny new toys, but I really like something that makes it possible for us to increase that experience for the customer out there, just keeping them safe, and for our own people too, the workers on the turnpike.
Okay, excellent. Martin, what about you? What was? Did you have a particular event you were most fond of? You can't tell me it was Tyler's Shark Tank. That's mine. That was.
I actually did not see that one. So, but I attended quite a few sessions. I attended a lot more sessions than I normally do this time. And really enjoyed most of them. I will say I don't remember what the title of it was, but Greg Mack and I forget who it was from Deloitte talked about the platform at CTRMA, and it was very interesting and very informative. Yeah, so
that was a great one. I was in there. That was a fantastic session. Yeah, I like that. That was good.
Yeah. So yeah, the sessions were really good this time, and they seem to continuing to get better at each IBTTA. So appreciate the work that those planning teams are putting into it, because it's I look forward to going to those now, where I didn't always look forward to going to the sessions.
It's not that I didn't look forward to them. It's just now I feel like they're getting every single event, they're getting better and better. And like the data analytics that I went to, I saw Craig Bettman with HNTB. That was excellent. And a lot of the tech talks, and I really love the technology of the future for one of the breakout sessions, and just learning about all of the new technology that is happening and how people are using AI as well, which is really interesting. So it was a great event.
Yeah.
Speaking of the AI, Kalie, so I went in and watched bits and pieces of some of the sessions where Michael Shea from Illinois.
Oh yeah.
So speaking about AI, and then Bob Legato from Atkins, and a large the basis of some of their conversations were actually the result of a booklet that the Emerging Tech Subcommittee on AI and ML worked on, and Mark Cantelli is a part of that effort as well. And so, so I enjoyed those sessions where you get to see your work being used in a presentation later on. and even Andrew Tate, not to be confused with the fighter Andrew Tate, but Andrew Tate from Conduit, did a presentation where he alluded to how well it was working with Emovis on a project in England. It was a transition. So, Andrew, I'm looking forward to giving that same compliment back to you when we start working on Florida. So,
I might mention Kalie. One thing I was really pleased to see. This has taken a little while, and Kristen also being part of the Young Professionals Council, or at least a key supporting founding member. The IBTTA has done an amazing job of holding spots on the agenda for the YPC to plug in new faces, new ideas. I really think that I can tell you, even from the content that was provided, the different perspectives that were presented, I'm really pleased, and I think it's huge. Even Mark, you mentioned Cody. It really goes a long way to move that needle forward, not only from growing our industry, but also allowing those new ideas to start to present themselves, or even when new ideas are captured at on projects or at agencies, bubbling those up through the YPC. I just wanted to plug that very briefly.
No, I completely agree. And their IBTTA is doing a great job. And I mean, so are you, Tyler, trying to help get us in there and get those either young professionals or newer to the industry as well, more involved, because, that's how we're going to learn. That's how we're going to meet new people to learn even more and, understand the industry better. So I've been seeing that and noticing that as well. And they're doing a great job.
Well, the thing, I echo all of that, but the goal is to get rid of the old dogs like Martin. Like, I mean,
you said Marty and not Ferzan.
How could we ever get rid of Martin? Come on.
But Tyler, what's the age cutoff for young professional though?
Look, George, if you're young at heart, if you're young to the industry, we don't exclude. We allow everybody to participate.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Keeping that in mind,
industry.
One of the things that I really appreciate about IBTTA is the fact that you see so many young faces stepping up into leadership and presenting, facilitating. It is an act of leadership. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of poise, and it is so good to see newer faces when I come to these conferences. I go to a lot of different conferences as well. We have transportation. I'm an engineer by background, so I go to a lot of these civil engineering conferences, and you see the same people again and again and again and again. Yeah, I can tell you right now that I'll be going to a conference here in Columbus in October. I can tell you who the people will be presenting. I don't know the agenda yet, but I can tell you who'll be presenting. And that is not true of IBTTA. So I really appreciate that about the organizers and about the young people who are stepping up. It's great to see that, because what I like to tell people all the time. Now, I'm not ready to hang it up yet, but what I like to tell people all the time is, those of us who are my vintage, etc., we already run the world, but we're going to be on our way out. Who's going to come up behind us? And I want to see people coming up behind me who are better than me, people who are more aggressive, people who more empathetic, and all of those above. And those opportunities will come from the fact that they are stepping up. And do want to give a shout out to Sneha Lambari. She did a great session interviewing the all-female C-suite of Atlanta, which was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and a little shout out to her if she's watching. I haven't forgotten about the box of tomatoes, so be prepared. And she'll know what that is, and she might be a little scared. But no, she did a great job. Speaking of young professionals, we had and I say this word strategically, not to be all whimsical and bloated about the concept, but we met this young professional, new to the industry. His name was Kyle. And because of the opportunities like Rachel Bell and, Benton and a few other people had given us, we felt a natural desire to extend that. And so Kyle, and I forget Kyle's last name. I'll try
Duffy.
to plug. What is it?
Kyle Duffy.
There you go. Look at Kalie. That's why she's the boss with the hot sauce. Yeah, Kyle Duffy was his first time there, and it just, I don't know, it seemed like the guy was kind of wandering. And the next thing you know, we started connecting, and he was hanging out the whole time. He even made it to the after parties. Like he was rolling strong. He had a great time, and it was great being able to pass that on and see a young professional, who's in a room with almost 1,000 people. Who do you talk to? What do I do? And I realized my spirit was renewed in the sense of you really do have to help people out because it's intimidating if you don't know anybody. I mean, we walk around there because we know each other, right? We're all friends. We're hanging out, and it's weird when you walk into a room with people you don't know, and they're all hanging out, having their own jokes and things like that. So anyway, that was just a good moment that I kind of had as well. So I don't know about anybody else, but that was one of my favorites.
I'd like to say that IBTTA does a really good job about welcoming new members into the group and encouraging people that have been around for a while to bring, to make them feel comfortable. Pat always talks about, show them the secret handshake and all that kind of stuff. So, so great, great for welcoming Kyle. And I always, when I see the blue line of somebody's badge, I always try to reach out and say hi, welcome them in. So,
no, that's good. So let's dig in a little bit more, right? So it's fantastic getting to see everybody's faces again. Hopefully the feeling's mutual. But what I'm really curious about is now what, right? It's been 6 days. You're back to work. Your inboxes are starting to thin out a little bit more. That means you're focusing back in work. What are the big aha moments what is the highlight that, this is the one thing I'm going to put the pedal to the metal and not let up on? I'd love to hear from each of you. Like, what are those one things that you're looking to, take advantage of, those lessons learned? We'll start with Tyler. You're up at the top left. Go ahead.
First thing I do, besides pull out all the receipts and make sure I didn't lose any, is collect all my business cards that I've collected, or QR codes if I've snapped screenshots of people's business cards on my phone, or even if I hit a QR code and bring up somebody's profile. I try to reach out. I don't try to pester. If I haven't built some sort of relationship, if I just grab somebody's card and didn't discuss any sort of detail, I don't attack them on LinkedIn immediately. But I at least do send an email. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss. And I also actually write on the card when I meet someone, the content of that conversation.
Oh, nice.
To say, was it personal? Was it business? What value? Because I forget things. My short-term memory is very shallow. So I make sure I at least connect and attack to make sure that as I mentioned, personal relationships are really important to me. And so it's not necessarily a business. Like even Mark, I've known Mark a long time. We don't do business together, but I want to maintain that personal relationship with him. So I'm willing to make sure that I connect on a personal level because that's what makes IBTTA great.
Yeah. Mark, what about you?
Well, like Tyler, what I do sometimes a little aggressively, I try to set up the meetings while we're at the conference, and then I spend the first week adjusting those meetings because I kind of got over optimistic that I can get all these things squeezed in. So that's, kind of where I'm at right now, going back through all the meetings I did set up from the conference and rescheduling some. I already made a few meetings.
Okay.
And going back through the cards that I collected and making sure I do follow up with some of the folks that, we had a lot of traffic. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but we had a lot of traffic. But if you are like us, we had more traffic amongst other vendors than the agencies. But which is fine. I mean, because there's a lot of new vendors out there, a lot of new, even some of the old vendors doing new things. So it's, it's good to catch up with them and see, what they are doing new. And, we do the same thing. We kind of walk around, talk to other people too, and let them know what we're doing. So now it's in a catch-up mode of, getting all the meetings I promised scheduled and actually getting them done. So.
Okay. George?
I mean, honestly, you could add what Tyler and Mark just said. For me, it's this conference for me actually was a bit overwhelming. It was
What way?
it may have been the busiest conference I've had, just in terms of I'm involved in the DEI committee for IBTTA, the Emerging Tech Committee for IBTTA. So they had their own agendas. As a part of the DEI committee, we hosted some local college students on Monday for an hour and a half. We had students from Morehouse and from Clark Atlanta come as a part of what we call the IBTTA experience, and kind of showing them around. So between my job at Emovis and my part-time job at IBTTA, and Pat, I'm still waiting on my check. It was, I was slam packed, and I brought my family for the very first time. So,
okay.
So at night, so that way my wife didn't think I was just going down and partying the whole time. She actually got a chance to see that, we actually do get work done. And so,
and party a lot.
And party a lot. Yeah. But no, I, just trying to follow up with everyone, and even the students. I've been in touch with students about internships and scholarships and all kinds of stuff. So
okay, Lev, what about you? So was there a particular walkaway moment or anything like that you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, so for us, like others, it's, it was very, very busy, especially kind of, I guess, given the nature of the kind of work that we do for the industry, kind of just trying to connect knowledge and ideas and companies to clients and companies to other partners, et cetera. So these are very, very busy times for us. So as a follow-up from these kind of events, honestly, a lot of it is kind of triaging what to work on first. So in the first couple of days after the event, we're trying to figure out, okay, what are kind of the top priorities, and we'll probably be digging out for the next couple of weeks. One of the things I do want to maybe talk about a little bit more, if there's a chance, is we have an interim online event coming up next week that's called Toll Industry Showcase. So we actually had some touch points there at the IBTTA event to kind of finalize planning for that with our partners, which includes Mojo as well. So happy to talk a little bit more about that.
Tell me about Mojo. I'm just kidding.
Mojo as well. We're happy to promote you guys a little bit.
I'll take the shameless plug anytime I can get it. It's okay.
We're excited to participate. We can't wait for that. And are there any other upcoming events? I know, so for IBTTA, I know that there is the Ruck event coming up in June, and there's a lot of others in between then, and the annual in October, September. I'm not sure when that is yet, but for me, so like all of you are saying, I'm, doing all of my follow-ups, making sure that I'm, connecting again, trying to schedule those meetings. And as part of the membership committee for IBTTA, right, I'm at the event. Not only are we doing all of the sessions and the after parties and this and that, lots of things, but I'm also scheduling meetings for myself with Mojo, and then for the membership committee to see, these first time attendees who aren't members, I want to explain what IBTTA is. I got to meet with a lot of people as well during the event for, potential members. So I've got a lot of follow-ups there, and got to connect them with Ancilla and others. So I'm hoping we get some new members for IBTTA. But any other events coming up that you're planning to attend? Or I know Lev, Kristen, you guys are hosting a few throughout the rest of the year. So if anyone has any they'd like to share.
Well, I'm a co-meeting organizer for the Ruck in Baltimore, so please, everyone, come to that. I have to shamelessly plug it. I've been working with Deb Sharplish from MDTA and Mark Muriello from IBTTA on getting that squared away. There will also be board meetings and Council Platinum sponsor meetings. So from planning purposes, get there Thursday night. People will be around as of Friday and Saturday.
Well, so I do have a question, though. I think your attendance would increase dramatically if we had another karaoke evening there. Martin, Tyler, can we pull that off? What can we do here, guys? Or are we saving it for the annual?
We typically, well, when we first started doing it, we did it at every conference, but it was a much smaller ordeal, so not quite as budget heavy. Yeah, we're doing it at the annual, just the tech and the annual, two biggest ones. So.
We got to meter that out. We got to meter that out, Alex. We can't just. We got to give people a break to get some rest, and IBTTA a break so that people show up the next morning. We've got to. I don't need George mad at me for messing up his Tuesday.
Well,
hey, look, I'll be sleeping in too, so don't worry about it.
So the funny thing was, I would say that those were, so I definitely want to talk about the after party, the evening event, all those things. But the reason I actually want to talk about them first is because my best connections, I think, were out at those events. I mean, I connected with some people, even at the evening event, I was not expecting to even show up on my radar. And, next thing you know, I'm in a 40-minute conversation meeting some great people. I'm like, holy cow, that is fantastic. So I kind of want to plug, not to people who go, I definitely want to talk about the fun stuff that happened, but I definitely want to say you definitely got to go out to those events, because I know some people, they don't always make them out there, or they're not sure if they want to go. There's events happening all the time. Martin and I were at it was like a pre-after hour party. Where the heck were we? It was like Sunday night or something like that. Went to the diner, Metro Atlanta.
Metro Diner.
Metro Diner Atlanta. Oh my gosh, we were karaokeing there the night before the big karaoke until like 1:30. I mean, the police were trying to drag Martin out of there. He was fighting them. And no, I'm just kidding. But no, it was a fantastic event. But no, there's so many events going on around. I think really, going back to when I kind of opened this up, take advantage of this time that you're at. You don't want to live a life of regret. I mean, there's so many conversations we had. I mean, I had one super meaningful conversation that, I had several meaningful conversations, but I just remember one, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go over there and talk right then and there. And it turned out to be one of the best moves I made. So, definitely taking advantage of it. And then when all else fails and you're not super confident there, go to the after hour party, because, man, we had, I think that venue was a great event. Personally, I love that venue. What did you guys think?
It worked well. It worked out well. Physically, it was a nice space. I think it fit our group very well. I think the Martin, you guys did a great job. I was merely a funding mechanism, but Martin, y'all's planning efforts were great.
Yeah, the venue was awesome. The stage was great. I mean, the band was amazing. Shout out to Jasmine at Quarter Hill. She really does most of the work on this stuff, with support from me and from people at Mojo, and and all the other sponsors. People in there to help. But yeah, Jasmine usually is the lead on that now. So it's a great. This is my favorite part of the whole thing. Actually, I want to say how much I appreciate Pat Jones and Mia coming out this time, and had a great time, and dancing and enjoying it as well. So
Mia's got some moves.
It's great to have support from the big guy.
Yeah. No, that was a great time.
Could I add too? Speaking of the big guy, Ferzan is his host agency coming up in Cleveland for our annual event. So we're really excited for Ohio Turnpike to host us.
Yep.
And later this year, September, October, I guess it is.
26th to 29th. Actually, we are looking forward to hosting everyone. The concept of hospitality is very important to me. And one of when I take back from this conference, there were a couple of vendors that I talked to that had some things that are of interest to me from a traffic safety perspective, and we have set up some follow-up calls. But I was observing. I was doing a lot of observing, looking at people, looking at guests. What are they looking for? What are they thinking about? And I got back to my team and I said, guys, this is our state. This is our city. We have to act like they're coming to our home, our house.
There you
which
go.
means we got to put out the red carpet for everyone. And having the annual meeting in our backyard is a big deal. And you're all going to feel that you are in our home, and we're going to take care of you. That's my promise.
All right. That sounds great.
Ferzan, I'm gonna tell you, I'm expecting to see a whole Bollywood subsection of the karaoke night, like
There
we
will be, there
saw.
will be,
Okay,
there will be Bollywood involved this time.
okay, gotcha.
That's great. Actually, and I overheard a conversation. I don't know if I overheard. I was sitting there standing next to you, but an activity. Have you given that activity any thought? Do you know what I'm talking about? Cricket. There you go.
We have, so one of the vendors there who was from England was talking to me about that. And he said, hey, we talk about this every time we get together. We've got some, Australians and Brits and Indians and myself, a Pakistani guy, and some others. What I always like to tell people is if you cut my veins, blood's not going to come out. Reason why it's not going to come out is because it's blocked by a cricket bat and a cricket ball. That's what we live for. Okay, that's what we live for. So I think I'm going to try and do that. I know some organizers here in Cleveland who organize some local cricket games, and I'm going to see if we can do a little cricket thing to go with the annual meeting.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to form teams. So we're gonna have get like Toll Talk T-shirts or Mojo T-shirts or something wild and crazy. Maybe we can do something fun and form some teams. I'm willing to give it a go.
Does that mean we need to come out on Tuesday? Because don't these games take like a week to play?
Yeah, we don't have to take that long. We can show
That's awesome. Anything else that you guys want to share?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely enjoyed the IBTTA event. I think we're also going to be participating in the summer IBTTA events. And then in addition to those, as I think many of you know, what Toll Insight does is we kind of try to plug in the gaps between what IBTTA very well covers with our online events. I already mentioned next week we have the industry showcase, which is going to have both existing contributors in the industry and then kind of the new entrants into the tolling industry. So we're very excited for that. And then look out for other events we're going to do online as well. In the fall, we're planning to do one focused on toll P3s. And we think that one will be another very good focused online event. So appreciate those opportunities and encourage you all to engage.
Awesome.
Thank you. We're looking forward to them.
Anybody
else?
Yeah.
I'll say something. The IBTTA Foundation will have a big community event in the Fort Myers, Florida, at the what's that called, Tyler? The Maintenance and Engineering Conference.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So at the Maintenance and Engineering Conference, Fort Myers, Florida, IBTTA Foundation will have a big event giving back to the community. That's usually on the Saturday before the conference starts.
If you've never done the service project at the maintenance, it's an absolute must do. Even if you don't even stay for the conference, come in and do that. It's truly one of the best things IBTTA does.
Really worthwhile.
Wow, really?
I would plug two things. One, feel free to give a few bucks to support the foundation scholarships, but also if you want to give a few bucks to support the service project, we're always looking for support. As well, George and I are on the board, the foundation board, and to Martin and Mark's point, it is hands down the best thing IBTTA does.
Wow.
All year. I even send my employees, if they don't even do maintenance or don't even want to attend the conference, I let them go because it's very powerful, very positive experience.
Well, that's a ringing endorsement if I ever heard one. That's great. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And I'll just say for the young professionals, I know we mentioned it a few times, but if you're watching this, if you're a young professional or you have young professionals in your organization that you want to get more involved, go to ypcouncil.com. And also there's information linked through the IBTTA website, but there's lots of ways to get involved and get connected. So be sure to look into that as well.
Well, I definitely want to say it was great having all of you on and, kind of really reliving some of what happened in Atlanta and seeing the great experiences, hearing some of the stories. thank you very much for joining with us. And if those watching right now, if you haven't picked it up or sensed it, I mean, don't have a moment of regret. Come out, join us. Come out to the Baltimore event. Start getting in the community. Join Toll Insights in their upcoming event. Get out there, start making friends, and it's all about relationships and starting to take the most of these opportunities that are presented to us and enjoy them. I think that's an important takeaway. And with that, as we start to wrap up here, I don't know if anybody has any. I want to thank everybody: Kristen, Lev, Ferzan, Martin, Mark, Kalie, George, and Tyler. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us here today. It's a great event. And just so you guys know, I just want to say Kalie and I had a little bit of, blown up heads from all the attention we got from the podcast. We're going to continue it. So, yep, the podcast is going to continue. We're going to launch it out early June. And we're quite excited. But again, if you didn't catch it at the beginning, make sure you join us here in June, and they'll be coming out not so rapid fire by your inboxes, but we will definitely be sending it out for you guys to attend. So thanks for joining us on this episode, and everybody, take care of yourselves. Get back to work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.